Gratitude.
Ownership.
Leadership.
Discipline.
All right, we're here.
We're back.
We're at big victory, huge victory.
Big win.
You know, history really doesn't matter because, you know, every 4 years it's really a brand new team, right?
Right, true.
But that was the first victory ever over Edmond Santa Fe. So
I was told that, yes.
But again, history doesn't really matter
Right.
because these guys, that's the first time they've ever played them.
Right.
And so they're 1-0.
We got a pretty good track record of rewriting history anyway. So,
Yeah.
So that was a good win, though.
Well, it went back and forth, so like it was a legit football game.
Absolutely.
My favorite moment, probably your favorite moment, was defense stopped him on the 5-yard line.
Huge.
And then Luttrell, I guess he just wanted to sit on the bench. And so he took the ball and he ran 95 yards.
Yeah.
Had a lot of help, which
Absolutely.
I'd like to see because he had to slow up. He had to
Yeah.
slow down, let people take care of business.
Right.
And march to the end zone. So that to me was the key. And after that, it was
Well, if you notice in that shot, you'll see just hustle, you know, and that's kind of a trademark of a Choctaw Yellow Jacket football team. You just see effort. You know, we always talk about being a program that's built on effort, a program that's built on guys that just give it their all, bleed every drop, and I think you saw it on that play. You saw it on the 4th down stop, as you mentioned, which is just huge. You know, those guys across the board, you know, if you just looked at them across the board, height, weight, you know, all that kind of stuff, had us outmatched by a lot, you know, and we knew that kind of challenge stepping in, and we knew that it would be tough and big physical matchup, and it was. And going back to the play that you mentioned with Luttrell Sprang, the big run is, you know, you'll see the O-line doing a fantastic job. You'll see Jack Smith and Juju Smith in the frame, and just, you know, getting guys on the ground and just giving full effort at the end of the game. You know, and like that's Choctaw football. That's gold standard football. That's how we win games. That's why we've always been what we've been, because our guys are willing to take it to a place other people aren't, and willing to go do things for the teammates other people aren't willing to do. And then one of my favorite things about the evening, you know, besides the win, was when you watch Luttrell in the end zone. You know, and he goes and runs up and celebrates with the next wave of Choctaw Yellow Jackets, elementary school kids who just absolutely, you know, went crazy. And, and I think that stuff's so cool, just for not only setting the tone right now, but building a legacy of what it means to be a Choctaw Yellow Jacket. And I'm just telling you, there's no better time than there ever has been to be one than right now.
I mean, that's true. That's all the programs.
100%.
You know, it's, you know, the drama program has a bunch of state championships. The band is competing at, you know, everybody's
Always
competing at
super
a high
high
level. I would expect every athletic program to have a shot
Right.
at a playoff run. So that's a great time to be a Jacket all over the place. I agree 100%.
Absolutely.
And I got to ask this question. It feels like there's a whole new set of rules that I don't understand. It feels like that celebrations aren't acceptable anymore at all. Is that something that they're making a point of? I know they're trying to keep people from fighting.
No, I mean, you know, I'll have almost no comment on that.
Okay.
You know, but it's
That's fair.
If a kid wants to go celebrate with his teammates, that's not taunting or something to belittle another team, you know, I have no issue with it. You know, there was no. You know, we talk about penalties, a penalty. You know, so they're gonna get, you know, consequences regardless. But it's like, you know, I think, you know, big moments, you got to kind of understand what the context of the game is. And in my opinion, if it's something that's not, you know, trying to belittle or be unsportsmanlike, then, you know, so be it. But if they throw a flag, then there's consequences to it, and so we have to address it.
Okay, and that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. And I know that it is a point that they're making this year, that they're trying to prevent fighting, and there's some strict penalties. Right. I think there's even some strict penalties if the fans start harassing the refs.
Yeah,
so
you know, let's say push a big sportsmanship initiative, which I 100% agree with, and you know, there needs to be great sportsmanship in sports, and teach our kids and fans, and you know, all the people of the attendees of the game, you know, that this is about, you know, amateur athletics, and go celebrate it. So I'm all for it. I think it's a great rule, and you know, and it's been really good.
Okay. One of the players that I heard called a lot was Corey Childs. Tell me a little bit about Corey Childs.
Yeah, Corey was our defensive player of the game. Corey had 10 tackles from the safety position, including a tackle for loss.
Wow.
Which is not easy to do from a safety position, because he's a pass first player that goes and gets in the run fit. And Corey is just an absolute heat-seeking missile. You know, he will go down with reckless abandon and no, fear for his bodily safety.
Yeah.
Go and absolutely strike you. And so he plays football like you should play football. He's a great teammate, works hard, does anything that's asked of him. Super smart kid, very bright. Gets people lined up and just will absolutely strike you. And he's been a lot of fun to kind of watch him just continue to develop and, kind of remind you of the Rodney Harrisons and John Lynch's of years old
right.
At safety. And he's in that same kind of mold. Just he can cover you, cover you in the pass game. And go fit and run an alley and just absolutely just crush your face in. He's a stud.
He reminds me a little bit of Troy Polamalu.
Yeah.
That might date me a little bit,
Right.
but
Yeah, it's the same. I mean,
just
same with me, but
scrappy and tough.
there's not as many of those guys anymore,
No.
and he's Ed Reed. I mean, you name it, like one of those kind of safeties that was just bring a hammer, but couldn't be a nicer young man and just super bright and good athlete and all those kind of things. Great teammate. So glad he's wearing the gold helmets.
I'm glad that he's defensive player of the game because I kind of felt he was. There's a couple times that they had a stud running back that
man.
There's a couple times that he made the play where it should have maybe been a touchdown, but he just made some outstanding solo tackle. Which to me was one of the differences in the game. This defense is just out.
Well, just a bunch of guys give extreme effort, and then like we just keep hammering on that, but that's what it is. I mean, in life it's the same as football is it's like you're gonna have some bad moments, and especially if you're kind of up against stacked odds that sometimes are not in your favor, and when you're just willing to just continue to fight. And we talk each day about just drops in a bucket. We talk about being a broken faucet in our program, just drip, drip, drip every day. And we'll just keep coming at you. And our guys do that. But they're gonna pop some. When that's a big physical team. I mean, big physical team. And we knew that, but our kids were up for that challenge and just continued to hammer. And as you mentioned, made some stops when they needed to late. But when you're physically outmatched, you're gonna take it on the chin a few times. But the key is, are you willing to get back up, and continue to try to fight the next snap, the next snap, the next snap, and our guys are willing to do it.
Yeah, no, it was clear that there was no quit,
Yeah.
And then it was a pretty hefty victory. It wasn't just it wasn't close at the end. It was.
Right. Well, we kind of feel like, clean up a few things, and, we think we could have won by, 3 or 4 touchdowns. Almost won by 3, but, I think 4 to 5 possibly. And, but, our it's kind of, classic, what are you built for, and, we're obviously a big strike, offense, big play offense, versus kind of 3 yards in a cloud of dust. And, obviously I like what we do. I think it fits our kids. I think it gives us a chance to be successful.
Right.
And we're able to kind of do that. And so, again, good victory. I will say, obviously winning is fun. We love to win. But, like I tell our kids, we show up Monday and back to practice. Coaches go back to work Saturday, Sunday. And, you have to, whether you're successful or unsuccessful, we're going back to work. That was never the goal. Our goal is to go 1-0 every week, but beating Edmond Santa Fe was never the season goal. And so we're back to work and, I'm back at it again. But I talk to our kids all the time about just knowing that they're champions and not ascribing our belief in ourselves based on external outcomes. We can't, I say base yourself off output, not outcome. And so we want to try to output, give ourselves, give the most of ourselves each and every day and not be so wrapped up in what happens during the game. With that said, obviously it's more fun. We love to win. It's a lot more fun than losing. But, I told our kids that, we have to show up with the same kind of mindset whether we would have won or lost. And it's a lot easier to say after a win. But that's really true. So, our ultimate goal is still on the table. We're trying to continue to improve. I feel like we've gotten better since, our first scrimmage to the 0-week game to the, our second game. And now we're going into our third game. And we're just looking to get better each and every week.
Well, another curveball. I hear the JV team's doing pretty good.
Yeah, JV took won a big game on Monday, 22-0 over Edmond Santa Fe.
Wow.
Again, we have really, really tough kids. but probably physically outmatched in a lot of areas, and the kids were able just, again, a similar situation to Friday, is they just give such great effort and just relentless pursuit to the football on defense, and then offensively, the ability to have some big strikes. We're able to come out 22-0 versus Edmond Santa Fe pretty convincingly, so it was a fun.
And that's
night.
playing a lot of people.
Yeah,
That's rotating positions, playing a lot of people.
Everybody got in, and it was a fun night. It's always fun. And Monday nights are fun. I love Monday nights. You kind of get a glimpse of who's next, and and you start seeing those guys. And I tell them all the time, like, you want to make plays on Fridays, you got to make plays on Mondays. And some notables that we've had that made plays on Mondays. Jordan Mukes, Deshaun Brown, Donnie Wingate. We're getting a pretty long list of guys that are Power 5 football players that started off on Monday, to try to earn their way to Friday. And so it's Monday nights are a lot of fun.
Well, I had a coach that just said you're one injury away from starting.
Oh,
and unfortunately,
fast.
That's the game.
Yep.
It's tough to stay fully healthy.
For a whole season, it's nearly impossible.
So I think that's good that JV doesn't get enough love sometimes, but I'm like, they're doing pretty good, and
Yeah, we love it. As coaches,
Yeah.
we have a lot of fun. We really enjoy it.
That's always my favorite night is
Absolutely.
get that one kid in there that's never made a play, and all of a sudden he made a play, and celebrating
those
that.
guys work all week in practice
yeah.
and deserve to play. And and I think that some staffs may not take that seriously, but we get as fired up as we do on Fridays, and because I like seeing those guys play. They deserve it, and those are our kids.
All right. Well, it feels good winning. As a broadcaster and as a coach
Yeah,
and as a player, whatever, it feels good winning.
Absolutely.
I loved the line is better this week.
Man.
Of course, that's gonna how it's gonna be. I really think the defense has a shot at being top defense in the
100%.
state.
Just
The line's doing pretty good, and then the defensive backs are just covering whatever the line can't do. It's almost like they've been playing together for a million years. But tell me about Westmore.
Westmore, another kind of, it's going to be kind of a similar, song as last week. Same
Right.
song, different verse. It's big physical team. Another 6A1 team. A lot more kids than we do. In our school, and bigger physically, all those kind of things. Big physical offensive line. Again, similar story. We'll be outmatched across the board as far as size and weight and all those kind of things. I love to try to run the ball. They're going to try to pound it in there again. It's a very similar game plan. They do have a good little quarterback, good little running back, runs the ball really, really hard, very physical team. And defensively, they're big and physical. So, it's tough. Again, playing 6A1 teams. We schedule these guys on purpose. We get to schedule. I don't know if fans know that, but I reach out and schedule these teams. I scheduled Del City. I scheduled Edmond Santa Fe. I scheduled Westmore, not because those teams are easy, but because those teams are hard.
Right.
Those are what's called our non-district contests, which means they do count for your overall record, but as far as playoff implications, have no bearing on it at all because we're in different classifications than they are. But we went out and wanted to schedule the best because I want to find out what are our flaws, what are our weaknesses. I want to find those out early in the season.
Yeah.
I don't want to find them out late. And so I want to be able to make adjustments. I want our kids to see a playoff style ball, which I felt like we were able to play. Our first game against Del City, which is a playoff type game.
Right.
And then the second game against Edmond Santa Fe was a tough physical, another playoff, big time semifinal type of a game, and see where do we need to get to. And then it'll be a similar story with Westmore. So I'm aware of that. It's difficult. Sometimes people are like, "Did you know they're good?" Yes, I knew they were good.
Right.
I knew that they were very good. That's why we scheduled them.
Of course, from my perspective, playing against Del City,
Right.
we got to watch Del City and Booker T.
Right.
And the result was not as close as it was with us. And that's a rival that we potentially will see in the playoffs. So that's some film we can look at for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I'm excited about this because, again, you don't get better by
You don't, and and a lot of people's philosophy is like, hey, I'm gonna go try to stack some wins, early, and and go schedule teams that you can dominate. That's never been our philosophy. We've always gone out of state. We've always scheduled tough opponents. I always remind our kids, and love to remind fans. In 2020, our non-district record was 1-2.
Right.
Well,
right.
we made the first state championship in the history of the school in 6A. Had a pretty good season, and and again we were 1-2 to start the season. So it's just about getting better, not necessarily what your record is starting off. And so, and then I'll say this too, I kind of touched on it earlier, but you know, it's like you have to know that it's an ultimate process. You know, I say to kids and really any football coaches, if you live every single week like, oh, we did great, I'm happy. Oh, we did poorly and lost, I'm sad. I mean, you can't, like, you know, life cannot be that big of a roller coaster. And that's what I say, when you know internally that you're a champion, you know what you're about. With our kids, you know, the outcomes cannot affect you because it's just an ultimate process to continue to be the best version of yourself each and every week. And by the end of the season, we're trying to play our best ball by week 11.
Right.
You know, obviously we want to win. You know, that's our goal each week.
Right.
But ultimately our goal is to win a state championship, which is much further down the road.
Well, I'm going to quote the great Ted Lasso. If you haven't watched that, you need to watch it because
I almost did last night.
I mean,
Actually, I didn't. So.
I like. He doesn't know anything about what he's doing, but he is a coach. Like,
Right.
he's the ultimate coach. But he says be a goldfish, and a goldfish can only remember just a few hours.
Right.
So if you be a goldfish, win, loss, all those roller coasters. If you just focus on the here and now, then
Right.
you're better off anyways.
But that really is true. You know,
Yeah.
it really is true. And I think like what I do for a living, and sometimes, you know, it's just it can be such a fickle business at times. You know, but ultimately, like we're trying to invest in kids and trying to get kids to, you know, whether you won or lost, like your job, like you said, like a goldfish is like, we're going to show up to the next day of practice and give our very best. Right. And then the next day, you know, and you don't know the outcome, but that's where faith comes in. You know, and in belief, and we have to continue to keep that at all times. So, you know, obviously, like you said, winning. I say winning is fun. Winning is fun.
Yeah.
Losing is not fun. I promise no one's more competitive than I am, but I've also done this long enough to where I believe in our guys, regardless of what the outcome on a Friday night is.
Well, ultimately, everybody's going to lose except for one team.
Correct.
So if you're in it just to win, then you're gonna have
It makes a long life. I can
it's
tell
gonna make
you.
a long life.
Yeah.
But yeah, really, that's all I gotta say about this. Wrap it up. I'm excited about going forward. Of course, we've got this last game, Westmore,
Yep.
that's happening tonight, and then we get a bye week,
right.
which is all about getting healthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of putting stuff in. Then we head to district, and district is going to be a little bit of a roller coaster.
District's always a gauntlet for sure.
And we'll get into that where there's some teams that are going to be really good, and there's some teams that need to work on some things and
Sure.
need to get better. It is 6A2 is just a lot of abilities, and it's about being even.
Yep.
For you, and I know that. So we'll get into that next week about how we prepare for different games because some of these games are going to be a letdown after this 3 weeks.
Well, yeah. We'll see when we get there.
You
but
know,
yeah.
it's well, and I'm speaking as a broadcaster. As a coach, you're preparing for every team like
Have to.
you're playing the next champion.
Yeah, I have to.
So you have to do that. But as a broadcaster, I like to look at the strengths and weaknesses. And so I'm excited about this. We'll talk more on the bye week and we'll get this going.
Sounds great.
All right, till next week. Stay classy, Choctaw.